Here's how to make money on OF in 2026. Now my last video, you see that, called how to run your OF page in 2026. I go into social media a lot, so I'm not going to touch too deep into it today. However, what I will say is be authentic on social media, post consistently, set up as many accounts as you can on Insta and TikTok, and post as much unique content as you can, and never ever miss a day. That's very, very key here. Never miss a day, because if you miss a day, essentially like your momentum gets slowed down for a week. Another thing as well to bear in mind is you can't afford to get account strikes, so don't post too much thirst trappy content or content that's a bit risky, because if your account gets striked, even if you remove the content, the issue is the reach will be limited for the next couple of weeks, and you really don't want that, because you want your reach to be as high as possible, really, to be fair, you know. So that's another thing to bear in mind. On top of this, post consistently, post unique content that's not too risky. You want to be going live on TikTok as well, as that's something that's really, really important to gain subs in. Now I have a method for my models when they go live on TikTok, which I can send to you. If you message me on Instagram, I'll send it to you for free. But it's really, really important in terms of like gaining subs and gaining traffic into your page. Now, in terms of the actual OF, first thing you want to make sure you do is your bio needs to be short, sweet, and sound like you. You want to be saying something along the lines of PS, I respond to all messages personally. Another thing you can do is also subscribe for a free gift. You can put that in the bio, and when they subscribe, just send them a bikini picture or a selfie. You know, it doesn't have to be anything explicit or nude. That's not really needed. It's just to literally get them initially into the OF. So once they've subbed to the OF, another thing you want to have is you want to have a good welcome message. So this should just be something short, simple, and looking to know more about them. After they've subscribed, you want to be messaging them, and you want to be essentially trying to find out as much as you can about them, where they're from, what they do for work, how many kids they've got, if they're married, not married, this kind of thing. And you want to sort of like be conveying your personality within the chats. Another thing I'd recommend in terms of doing this as well is using voice notes. So you can have pre-recorded voice notes, or you can set them up with AI, which will basically make voice notes for you. I can do this for you. I do this for a few models in my agency, so that's something you want to sort of implement as well. As voice notes add a lot more of like a personal feel, and basically sounds a lot more personal and intimate than a normal sort of texting sort of scenario. So you want to be sending these voice notes to gain as much info about this fan as you can, really, to be honest. Once he's sent all this info, or as he's sending this info, put it all in the notes. On the OnlyFans, there'll be a section for the notes where you can have all this info about the fan, and you want to be like implementing it within the actual messages with the subscriber as well. This is something that's quite important, as you know, the sub will feel like a lot more of like a personal sort of relationship with you, and therefore be more inclined to spend more money with you, you know, and that's what you want at the end of the day. So after, you know, a while of running your OnlyFans, you should also be able to see that there's different types of fans on there. Some that are high spending, some that are low spending, some that are medium spending. The ones that are high spending spend more than, I don't know, £500, £1,000 a month on your content. You want to be labeling them as whales, and you want to segregate them from the mass message list, and you want to be dropping them a personal message every single day saying, you know, like, say for example, his name's John and he's like 50 and he's got a cat called Dave. You want to say, how's Dave doing today? Something like that. Send me some pics of Dave. You know, it just essentially needs to feel really, really personal to the subscriber, and that's what you have to go for here, as like 30% of the revenue should come from these high spenders. So basically, the relationship with them is extremely, extremely important. On top of this, when they order a custom, if customs are something you do, or video calls, you want to be doing them as soon as possible, ideally within a 24 to 48 hour window. You know, you don't want to be making these people wait like weeks for customs, 2 weeks for customers. They're just not going to spend any more money, and that's not what you want. You want them to be spending money whilst on the page and while subscribed to you. That's another thing to bear in mind. Another thing as well is you want to be running a lot of sexting scripts. So sexting scripts are quite key, because they sort of make the sub feel like everything's live, and you know, it's not. It's essentially transactional, because it feels like it's happening there in live time, and he's also sexting with you in live time, and yeah, basically increase the retention rate of the subscriber, you know. And yeah, that's one thing to bear in mind. On top of this, you also want to be sending out PPV messages. You don't want to be doing this too much. You need to be doing it a little bit, but also not like none of the time. A little bit of the time, but not like too much, you know. So I'd say a good you know, a good range about 2-3 times a week. That's how I sort of run it, and it needs to be new content all the time, because this can help like get a lot of sales in really fast from these subscribers. You also want to be excluding any of the high spenders when you're sending out these PPV messages. On top of all this as well, you also want to be engaging in daily conversation with these subs. Just because someone's got no money or they can't spend there and then, like, still chat to them, still speak to them, but obviously don't overdo it, because a lot of these guys, they want to talk for free, so you need to like be wary of that. A good statistic to go by is if they've spent over 30 days subscribed to your page and not spent a single penny on you, the likelihood is they're not going to spend any money at all. So after a month of not spending, you can cut them off. So that's one thing to bear in mind. But if they've been sub less than a month, still talk to them, still engage in convo with them, but obviously, you know, you don't have to overdo it. So that's something to bear in mind in terms of messaging. On top of this, you also want to be going live on the OF if that's something you're comfortable to do. I'd say every 2 weeks is the sweet spot. Now, I have a specific sort of strategy that we give to all of our models in terms of OF lives. If you message me after this video, I can give it to you for free. I can jump on a call with you and give you some tips in terms of how to run it. But essentially, when you do these live, you want to be bigging them up for about a week before you do it, like promoting them, you know. So say for example, I'm going live this time, this day, and that's how you should run it really. Lives are really effective. Like, I'll give you an example. One of our models, she went live for her first time and she's making $1,000 a month before. When she went live with us, she made $1,000 in a couple of hours. That's how effective these live streams are. In terms of the setup, it's sort of like we work by a tip goal, so the more people tip, like the more you take off during the live, you know. So you start off like with a hoodie and stuff, and then obviously when you hit like $100, you take the hoodie off. $250, you take, you know, your t-shirt off. You're in bikini, and that's how we sort of like to run the live streams. However, it's a bit more detailed than that. It's not just that simple, so I'll go into it if you message me. Last but not least, I'm going to keep this video short and sweet. Another tip I'll give you in terms of running your OF is you need to be sending out renew bundles and messaging people that have expired on the expired from subscription. So you still need to follow them. You need to have that setting on OF turned on saying follow back expired subs, follow back every sub. You need to be sending them a free link to still subscribe and talk to you, so you can get money out of them, because there's money there. On top of this, with renew bundles, basically what this means is you need to be sending a message to everyone with their renew turned off around the time of the end of the month, and basically just say, you know, subscribe back and I'll give you a free gift, because otherwise you're going to miss out on subscribers there. That can really help with your retention rate as well. But yeah, that's a short and sweet video on how to make money on OF in 2026. If you're interested in what I can do for you and the services I can provide and how I can help you increase your income, drop me a message on Instagram and we will go from there.